Just in case, just want to remind you guys that be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. Go ahead and check me out on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and second channel. And let's dive right in. So, hello everybody, welcome back to my channel once again. And also today I'm bringing back with more Amphibia. I know it's been like almost being 3 months since the show has ended, but we definitely got some new information and an interview with the creator, post-canon interview with Matt Brawley posted by Daria on Twitter. And this is really so much amazing to talk about today. For the questions that we have, some of them regarding Amphibia series finale has been dropped, and maybe we can definitely answer them today. So let's dive right in. Get your popcorn, because I think that this video might be longer since the interview post was so much long as well. I'm just saying, so let's dive right in. The first question. After True Colors, there was a strange in the relationship between the crew's creative visions and the network. As one can see in Brawley's response, Matt Brawley responding, Olivia and Una was an episode that was a hard sell and required a lot of persistence on our part. There was an initial resistance to the tone and content of the episode. It's worth mentioning that the True Colors debacle really changed our relationship with the network and made everyone worry constantly that something like that would happen again if we weren't careful. For example, the wounds sustained by Andreas in All In used to be way more harsh, missing the bottom half of his body completely. But after the TC stuff, I think True Colors, we all got incredibly nervous about what we could show. The network was also always asking for more comedy and levity. Always. I think for an 11-minute show, the expectations were stronger for lighthearted and silly fun. So my thoughts are, I think Marcy's scary moments by getting possessed by the core and Andreas losing half of his body almost makes me, probably makes also the crew struggles. They should really do it. I know since this show is ultimately a kid's cartoon. And yes, I know, Andreas losing his body really didn't scare me. I didn't really care. Since he was a robot confirmed, definitely, that didn't really so much make me terrible, freak out so much. But the scene really scared me that Darcy's first appearance, and really gave me a nightmare after Olivia and Union aired. And yeah, so. And next question in the paragraph. While adhering to a creative vision proved to be difficult, is in strenuous situations the external conflicts. Internally, there was also quite a bit of hesitation to follow through with an ending that would challenge the notions of escapism at an ironic equilibrium, an extended metaphor of the series itself being a fictional creation. Despite the general reception of the conclusion being positive, many fans felt mixed and distress pertaining to the decision to separate the worlds of Amphibia and our main human cast. And also the question that Amphibia is a series with many uniquely bold writing choices. Another point of contention among fans was the deliberate decision to omit the presence of Sasha and Marcy's parents regarding their respective topics of divorce and relocation, leading me to inquire Brawley on the latter question. Matt Brawley said there are a few reasons. We are already approaching max capacity when it comes to characters and story elements to pay off. We didn't think we could include Sasha and Marcy's parents with the time we had and pay them off in a satisfying way. They would have been given a short shift. I'm a less is more kind of person and thought they were better left to the viewer's imagination. Marcy and Sasha didn't really need them for their respective stories and arcs to be satisfying. It would have been nice to see them, but they weren't as important to them in the way that the Boonchoys were for Anne's progression. And my thoughts are, since Anne Boonchoy is the main character, her parents should get more involved about her adventure, since Anne had the most screen time in the show as well. She's the main character. For Marcy and Sasha, it could have been nice to see their parents make an appearance in the series finale, but I think there was also no time left either. It was late, and the Raybirds and the Rule are not so much serious like the Boonchoys. And yeah, next question. While few cartoons explore uniquely migrant experiences such as Steven Universe and Signed by a Nick Titan in their subtextual deception of Jewish diasporic acclimatation, even fewer have dared to confront a harmful cultural phenomenon, the model mandatory myth, in the context of Asian Americans' industrial existence within the American hegemony. My brother's responses, I think that I only realized about midway through Amphibia that is what's really important for me, that and be a middle student because of the strict exception imposed on Asian Americans to excel academically. I thought it was just because it made her a more interesting character, but I think it was me rebelling subconsciously at this unfair straight up the haunts of so many of us. I think Aim just being incredibly heroic character at the end of the series was my plea for our community to recognize that empathy and love are just as well as excellence of financial success. I don't really have so much thought about it. Definitely like about how Anne's character went in the series. So yeah, next question. Well, model mandatory myths stains a dark self-fulfilling prophecy among Asian Americans. AP idea student, y'all report higher levels of social items as well as significantly lower levels of counseling following said attempts. The disparity reflects an unmistakable consequence and correlation that many Asian Americans are held to a standard to prove their value as human beings solely through their financial and academic accomplishments. Amphibious is to Asian American lives abroad as a stroke of genius, there to challenge the often poisonous and progressive notions that have a dangerous chokehold on the American collective consciousness. Marcy Wu as a straight A student because of the artistic creative as a webcomic artist, and M. Butcher as a chronic C student communicates her empathy and passion for all things amphibious as her herpetologist. And Maverly responds, it was important to me that Marcy would ultimately do what she wanted, when not what others expected of her. Same thing with Anne, who defied all expectations by embracing a career path no one would have thought her capable of 10 years prior. It's fun role reversal for Anne and Marcy that demonstrates how the preconceived notions we hold for one another can be completely overturned with time. Also, it always had my attention to show that Asian characters are not monolithic. They deserve complexity and nuance just like their white counterparts. Having two Asian characters helped to emphasize this idea of thought. And my thought is, this doesn't mean that if the smartest person should get the best job in the office, the smartest C-point for a test person should get the same less popular job. And they get what they want, it matches their personality as well. Next question. Why characters are all too often afforded complexities in their personalities and aspirations, while their non-white counterparts are pigeonholed into specific niches that reinforce racial and ethnic stereotypes over decades of animation history. Amphibia to me reflects the ushering of a new era where non-white characters are able to represent and influence an alternate reality, and minorities are allowed to just exist as themselves, and that alone is enough. In the complexes of development, however, broadly being mixed white and Asian gave to rise lingering imposter syndrome of sort, which to no surprise is generally bequeathed among Asian creative under the pressure to crave authenticity in their stories. My brother responded, I did experience some imposter syndrome when it finally came to promote the show, being mixed race, especially since Disney wanted to lean so heavily on that aspect of the show. However, the more interviews and panels I did, the more people I talked to, the more I began to understand that his insecurity was pretty common in the Asian American community. Lots of folks grew up not feeling Asian enough for their families and not American enough for their classrooms. This wasn't limited to biracial folks either. It was everywhere, so it was sort of nice. I think I was able to go easier on myself after having those interactions. And when it comes to being qualified enough to represent a culture, no one is perfect. And I had to allow for the possibility that I would get things wrong as well. It was worth way more to me to do my best and get things mostly right than not try at all. Thankfully, I don't think we got anything egregiously wrong, mostly because I did ultimately draw from my own life experience and did have her shoes on endorsed for a couple scenes in season 3, though, which is a big crunch. And I don't have any thoughts about this one because this, guys. And next question. In episode season 2 of Amphibia actually sexually deals with this topic, where our main character Amphibia deals with it over compensation and blending in like an authentic local while visiting Utopia as a result of her insecure estrangement from her time visiting Thailand, which to no one's surprise is actually parallel to Brawley's experience in said country. I remember distinctly my mom prohibiting me from eating street food in Thailand, telling me my stomach could handle it. I bawled the frustrations and I felt about the experience and put it into my motivation for that episode, but I also tried to acknowledge the reality that I probably wouldn't do well alone on the streets on back home by myself either. And all comes from that innate desire to be part of something, and I feel included to a community/culture. Unfortunately, you could also work your whole life at it and ultimately never feel 100% accepted by a place. It's tricky and something I still struggle with. I don't have any thoughts about this. Next one. On the topic of representation, fans thrilled to see the finale in which Sasha Wavebrand was confirmed to be bisexual via a sticker on her rear view mirror in the time skip ending. What a few fans wondered when did Sasha herself come to this realization, and when was this agreed upon during development? Matt Brawley said, Sasha realized not long after the events of Amphibia. The writing decision was made fairly early, but the decision to confirm it in the hardest thing was made quite late. My thoughts is, I know it has been late to give the confirmation, but I think it was also the best way to confirm Sasha bisexual, because as you know, her voice actress Anna Akana is also confirmed bisexual. So I think it was a great and an interesting way to confirm Sasha bi. And next question, the inclusion of LGBT characters in amphibian narrative, Olivia and Ewan, Jess and Ali, etc., which already features trailblazing representation for Minotaurines, rings true to the essence of the show and its inclusivity and wonder, and further reflecting and breadth of stories in our real life. Many fans have connected to the portrayal of Anne and Sprig as a representational relationship of siblings. And Matt divulges the inspiration for the pragmatic portrayal of their dynamic. I have an older brother, but really, I think Anne and Sprig's relationship is closer to one I share with my cousins, who very much felt like older sisters. My brother and I really looked up to our older cousins. I always remember thinking they were clueless people alive. My thoughts is, I think it is really informed about me with this relationship between the characters. I have another video about the relationship and the LGBTQ plus representation for the show, and also for the Owl House either. So stay tuned for that. And there also is another question that had been included, and here you can read it and pause it because I don't want to really make this video longer so much. It's about that about the things. I can definitely read it with Brawley saying. But I burst out laughing at this question. I regret to say that I have played about 15 minutes of Minecraft in my life. That being said, Marcy definitely has built a working clock that is also somehow replica when Esmer Abbey, and probably made some kind of cozy freeform village that is packed to the gills with animals and pets. Sasha probably keeps everything orderly, organized, and under control. When they got back to Earth after their adventure, they probably got together and created Amphibia in its entirety. It was a question about games and stuff, so yeah. And I don't have any thoughts about it. So, and thank you so much for reading. And I urge anyone interested in seeing more serialized animation to go to show your support and pre-order the Marcy's Journal Guide to Amphibia book. Is set to debut in November 2022. And my thoughts, I know just from here in the interior was another pre-order announcement, but tomorrow I will talk about the new stuff we got for this upcoming book. So stay tuned for that. And so that was for all. That was so big to break down. And so anyway, what do you guys think? Did the questions were useful and they got answered? If you have any more questions, put them in comments and I'll try to make a video about it in the future. See you guys next time. Take care and subscribe and bye bye.